Good morning, good noon, good evening, whatever time and place you listen to us from, straight from the 909. It's Mark, myself, Isaiah, and together that's hip hop. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. So we were just laughing because I was kind of, I guess, throwing a curveball to Mark and talking about, we're talking about Urban Thermo Dynamics, excuse me. And this group and how it's very unique and how it has just a special place in hip hop history and marking one of the early stages for Mos Def, like, you know, in his development as, you know, a solo artist. But the way Mark introduced me to this group was, you know, telling me how it was a family affair. This was his younger sister and his younger brother. And then we had just did a little test run of the show, and I had went ahead and threw him a curve, and I'm like, well, Cess was actually like a love interest of Yasinbe's.
I'm looking at him like off
like,
camera. I'm just like, what? I was like, man, I hope we have the stop button on that immediately after he says that.
Yeah. So yes, that's actually true. That according to Yasinbe on the podcast with Talib Kweli, he explains that Cess was actually a high school friend, like a really good friend of his. And he actually liked her. He had a crush on her. But she had like mad style. Like she was probably like the coolest female, even male, like out of like any of the groups. She was the coolest person like he had ever ran into. So he was like a girl version of him.
Trying to keep it platonic and professional.
Yeah. So he said that she was just, they met in drama class, and, you know, it makes sense because Yasinbe was an actor, or Mos Def was an actor.
Yeah. At this point,
before rapping, actually.
Yeah. At this point, he's already finished doing the Cosby Show Mysteries, or at least starting it right after 94.
Yeah.
And then he did a short-lived sitcom that I think only ran a few episodes called You Take the Kids.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, dang, that's dope. And so that's pretty interesting. This, I think, was just fresh news to Mark, because everywhere on articles and everything, when you read about this group, Urban Thermodynamics, you read that it's a family affair. Like that. Yeah. Articles are even saying that it's a sister and brother. But I don't know if you knew, but it's not actually his brother either. It's actually like, what was it? Like his ex-lover? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. I'm like, what the hell? I'm all going back to the drawing boards. Like, okay, reassess the history of Manifest Destiny.
No, that's really his brother though. And I think it's so cool because this is a group that I don't know if a lot of people know about. I sure didn't until Mark told me about this group. And I was like, kind of like, what? This is like, because, you know, Mark was saying like, this is, Mos Def was in a group before his solo career even kicked off. He was in a group, and it's a dope album. And so I was like, oh, dang. We even looked up the album like now, and people are buying it for crazy money for like cassette tapes of it.
Yeah, there was a limited run of 100 tapes that went to when DCQ re-released it under his album, under his label. He only released 100 tapes.
Oh, peace to him, by the way, for even doing that.
So it's this whole album's a trip. You check my piece to Mr. Doty for letting me use his credit card during class to buy this album. I bought this album back when it re-released anyway in 2004.
Wow.
Because it was, as we all know, as Isaiah would have said during the intro, had he not threw a curveball at me. Yeah. This album was initially supposed to be released in 1994, but due to label conflicts, it didn't get released to the public till 2004.
Yeah.
The singles are the only ones, the 12-inch singles are going to be the ones that get released, which are Hardcore, My Kung Fu.
Kung Fu was first, and then second one was Hardcore, and then the B-side was Love It, Live It.
Yeah.
That was the B-side. I mean, Manifest Destiny, the track itself, there was a music video as well to that.
Yeah,
So I don't know
the
if
music
that was a
video is
single.
like a trip too,
Yeah.
because they're just like they're at 4 locations and they're just like going back and forth between all the
it's like
locations.
some abandoned building that's undeveloped.
And I can, it's always going to be the one shot of just one of them. So that means either one of them like wasn't there, take it, and the other one's like behind the camera or something like
something
that.
like make do
Yeah,
do it
just
yourself.
it looks like it. The
So let me really quick just cover the details. We're obviously discussing Manifest Destiny on play. I'm getting my words all fumbled up. Just came back from traffic, guys, so it's like trying to make it work. Manifest Destiny on Payday Records, and it was slated to release 1995, but it never officially released until, like Mark said, 2004 through his brother DCQ's music group. What's funny about DCQ is Mos Def said that it stood for Destroying Competition Quickly.
Yeah,
this is funny, cool name. But it released 2 singles in '94, but then its full length album got shelved, never released, and so we don't have the exact length of this album. All we know is the singles that we just mentioned. But there was one person who wrote an article saying that he actually remembers hearing the singles late Saturday nights on this local radio station during the hip hop mix back in the day, which I thought was cool, just to kind of get an idea.
Mm-hmm. We have confirmation.
We got confirmation that it was actually out. But yeah, as far as this album, I mean, it didn't chart because it got shelved, so it's very very underground. You know, we're talking about like the Holy Grail, probably. If you could have gotten your hands on this when it first released or something, that would have been nuts. Oh yeah, go ahead, fix it. So yeah, all in all, why did you choose this album for us to cover today, Mark?
So during 2004, this is around the time where Mos Def releases The New Danger.
Yeah,
the second, this anticipated album. We're talking if you ever went to thenewdanger.com to actually get any updates regarding Mos Def's second album, you were treated with a countdown and the single Sex, Love, and Money and Ghetto Rock. So we're waiting for it. And in the meantime, you end up hearing about the group Urban Thermo Dynamics, but you never hear about, you see the release of the singles and stuff, but it's tough to even get a copy in 2004.
Yeah, it's kind of like hearing about Eminem's Infinity or something, like,
So when he releases Manifest Destiny as like an actual album, it was hard to find. I couldn't find it at Virgin Megastore, and I wasn't even doing much of like a search. I was still like 16 at the time, so it's like as far as me, I had to go bum a ride. I had to go find someone to take me over to there. But when I ended up, thanks to Amazon actually found someone that had a copy and was able to route it. And peace to Mr. Doty for actually hooking it up.
So this is Amazon back in 2004. Yep. That's an early Amazon too.
You'll see my old Amazon account. There's that purchase, but yeah. But listening to it, and I wanted to get a hold of it because I'm a huge Mos Def fan. Like he's one of those guys. He's just one of those MCs where it's like he's so free spirited. It's going to be tough to match with him. Lyric, delivery style, and the overall charisma.
Yeah, the delivery is different.
So to see any of his early works is always a treat because you're only given 1998's Black on Both Sides. That's all you're given. You don't get anything else besides the fact that he acted a little bit and nothing before that. Mm-hmm. So this was a good like prequel of sorts. Leading up to his second release, The New Danger. Real quick too, speaking of Manifest Destiny, I want to say and just tell you guys that a couple years ago, my buddy Joel Johnson passed away. Got taken away too young. I want to say,
rest in peace,
Manifest. I want to say peace. Rest in peace to Manifest. Love you, Joel. I'll see you in the celestial wireless, in this life or the next, brother.
Yeah, he was a ex-member of the Lyrical Kamikazes, which is the local group that Mark was associated with or spearheaded back in our high school days. Yeah. So we all had our like own rap crews. So
Michelle
peace
the time,
peace to him.
Yeah. So so that was like one of the reasons why I wanted to pick up Manifest Destiny. Yeah. As far as like that, it was just even the album, even like the album artwork, even getting it, it's just raw as all hell.
So you got like the second version of the album cover, right? Which is the top one right there?
Correct. Yeah. So what Isaiah is pointing to the people listening at home, there's two different album types. One is the projected original release, and then the second is the 2004 re-release. Yeah, I got to start calling it that, the re-release. Yeah, that's going to be...
Isn't that kind of crazy, though? Like, let's say you worked on this, you spent a lot of hard hours writing, production, and putting this whole album together just for it to get shelved. We don't really know the reasons why, but I mean, just the fact of, like, because we talked about this with Pharoah Monch and everything, like, your project gets shelved, like, that's kind of crazy.
For what, 11 years?
Yeah.
Oh, no, for 9?
Time. That's a long time.
Plus the time that
get that out.
Plus the time that it took for you to work on that album. And then eventually, Mos Def's kind of already detached from hip hop at this point.
Yeah,
so when
that's like your opus, whatever. It's like your great, legacy of work just never comes out. Like,
yeah, that's funny. I think it's funny to even quantify that too. I know.
Props to Mos Def though, still making it happen and still, I think it now because of his solo career, it just highlights Cess and DCQ, just being a part of hip hop history.
Yeah.
Just having that.
I'd like to say that this is going to be one of those hip hop. This is probably one of the biggest underground hip hop what ifs.
Yeah. Because
if you think about it, as we're going to be explaining on this album, Cess and DCQ hang lyrically with Mos Def at this time.
Yep.
So you figure if that group stayed together collectively in unison, the skills just go in trajectory.
Yeah, they had something.
It's like hanging out, it's like hanging out with a young LeBron James. And you'll eventually be a good hooper if you chill with him long enough.
Exactly. And there is some what ifs around LeBron James. I believe there was another guy out of high school who was actually better than LeBron James at the time that didn't end up really making it in the league like that, which is crazy. I guess that happens sometimes. Me and Mark, there's not a whole lot of information out there, guys, regarding this album. So it's really kind of just like, you have to hear it from Mos Def himself. Otherwise,
Paul
we
Bunyan
don't know.
Tales, straight up.
But yeah, we don't really know what happened to Cess. We don't know what happened to DCQ, excuse me. We don't know what really happened to them. We don't know what they ended up venturing off into, or if they tried and just weren't successful. We don't know.
Yeah, from what we got with DCQ is that through later means DCQ and Mos Def team up to do the rap group Medina Green.
Okay.
So they end up releasing a project under Medina Green themselves.
Who was that?
It's DCQ and Mos Def.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they do Medina Green.
So then even with Cess, we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Even so, there's a definitive point to where like you don't get any works from either.
Right.
So.
But even if for the time, there wasn't a whole lot of female artists. Not a whole lot.
Mm-mm.
There were. I guess you can say that because there's always going to be somebody who's like, "What are you talking about?" There's a bunch of female artists. But realistically, in comparison to the male artist, that's what I mean. In comparison to the male artist, there wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we're seeing a lot more of the rise of the female MC now, more so. But at that time, in that era, if you did have a female who could spit, like that was a pretty rare find. And there was a few of them out there that can do it really well. And that was a rare find. Cess, I think she qualifies. Like she had skills enough to do that. She had the look, she had the charisma, all of that. So it is definitely a big what if.
And it's cool to see those skills on the forefront.
Yeah.
And then the fact that she is of the opposite sex is an after, it's just the after effect. Like, oh, like we respect you for your work lyrically.
Yeah.
Versus, the image that goes out there that, oh yeah, she's quite attractive, but can she spit?
Yeah.
Like the 90s were a good time because everyone kind of had to, the marketing of course was always there for like, sex sells, but it's cool to see that Cess was just able to take the lyrical skills, put it on an album, and then you just see, damn, like she could spit.
Yeah.
I think the cloak of mystery of like this whole Urban Thermo Dynamics thing kind of adds into the mystique about her because it's just this one-off.
Right.
You don't get any other work from her, and that's it.
Yeah. It's kind of like there's that.
This is the what if I'm talking about.
Remember on Food, there was a female MC too on Food.
Yeah, on the Guinness's track. Yeah, on the Guinness's track.
I don't know what else she's came out on, if she has come out on anything, but those ones that are like one-offs are always mysterious. Like you're curious, that there's a lot of mystery surrounding them, and that's that whole benefit story.
How are they going to leave that? How are they going to leave the microphone smoking and not come back to it? That's the main question that we have. It's like the fact that they're a chick is secondary. It's like hearing a dope MC on a track. You're like, who's this?
Right.
Like, dude, this was dope.
And
like,
you never hear from them again.
Either or. They don't discriminate. Dope verses do not discriminate.
There was a story one time. My old friends I used to rap with, they used to live in Riverside. They were telling me about one time there was a delivery guy. I don't know if he worked for FedEx or UPS.
Oh my God.
And they had a recording booth and they were like, hey, do you rap? And the guy's like, do I rap? Yeah. They're like, do you want to spit a verse for us? The guy comes into the booth.
So wait, hold on. The delivery guy drops a package.
Yes.
And drops a verse too.
Drops a 16 real quick.
I have a 16 for do you want to sign here?
Like, yeah. And dude, I heard it because they showed it to me. They're like, look, check this out. Dude sounded professional as hell. He sounded like freaking Busta Rhymes. Like that tone and voice. I was just like, what? And they were like, yeah, this is the delivery guy. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy the talent that's out there.
Delivery guy, we got to find you out there. We got to review your album.
Yeah. If you're still out there, hit us up, man.
The FedEx LP. He dropped the FedEx LP and we don't know about it.
Not only did he drop off the package, dropped a 16.
Dropped a package, just dropped a verse.
Real quick. Just laid a verse. I'm out. Deuces.
Left a tracking number on a verse real quick.
Yeah, I just made a hit real fast. Anyways, as far as style with these three, obviously we kind of know Mos Def and where he ended up projecting to be.
Right.
But what do you think about Mos Def in this early period in this group? Like, do you see the links between like where he was at or whatever?
So the framework for him establishing himself as a fantastic MC, because Black on Both Sides as an initial effort, it's very, very impressive.
Yeah. So is Black Star.
The framework for it's there. However, this is a very raw approach, and you could tell that this whole album as a whole was just extremely raw. Mm-hmm. But we end up finding out a little later that Mos could actually spit something. When it comes to like, it just took time. It was just a matter of a couple of years to where it's like, oh crap. I would love to say that listening to this album, the lyrical presentation's there. It's just the delivery wasn't there. It just sounds like it sounds like he's holding back. Or he's not. The delivery's just not there to me.
Yeah, I think it's interesting
because you compare.
I think it's interesting when you look back, how you see the growth. Because from that to Black Star, I mean, that's a jump. That's a huge leap,
dude. And we're talking like a phase of 3 years. This is if you're counting 94, 95 to 98.
Yeah,
you're only counting a few couple of years.
Yeah,
and it's light and day. It's night and day.
I think it helps like kickstart him in that right direction to perfect his craft, because that was a period in time where he was saying like he was writing a lot, like just writing and writing and writing.
Yeah, the lyricals there.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just the delivery, There's times where like
the delivery
beats,
wasn't perfected quite yet.
I hear the beat. You're going to listen to this album, you're going to notice that the beat is a little bit on the forefront of his verse. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that could be it too, cuz sometimes an artist they just sound better with that production when it brings it more to life, or brings you to life sometimes, so that could also be a part of it. I feel like you could definitely hear the budding seeds of what Mos would ultimately become.
Yeah.
It's not perfected yet, but you can hear like how close and similar it is. He just ends up taking that though and really building on that, and he ends up like perfecting it to the T. Because I feel like with Mos, him I always picture like a flow, but then he does like a little explosion in the middle. He'll do like a deep breath and hymns and like he kind of does that, which I think is cool. You don't get a lot from a lot of different MCs. Yeah. And so it's cool. Along with that, you have this, Afrocentric vibe you get from him.
Almost native tongues-esque.
Yeah. There's a mixture of that there, but then you get the rawness of like Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, you get that in there. So it's like almost like a perfect storm for an MC, especially with the skill and talent that he got, plus the intellectual piece of him and, the social side of him. So it's like just a perfect storm for an MC to have those qualities, and then him to just like, boom.
Oh, he's like, Mos is honestly like, and we saw it with his prime. The guy's like a 5-in-1 tool, man.
Yeah.
The guy has almost all the qualities that you'd want out of like a spectacular MC.
He has the humor, he has the intelligence, the social awareness,
rhyme style,
introspective, the delivery.
You can't take a day off if he's on your verse, bro.
Yeah, no,
you can't.
Nah, because like he doesn't have to be fancy or super technical. Just the way he delivers it is enough. Like that's enough for him to sit in a booth with Big Pun, DMX, and to even be a part of that epic cipher even shows you the heavyweight class that he's in, and
the nod of respect.
And
we go back to talking about this album being, underground hip hop's biggest what ifs in the 90s, because the shining force out of this whole album is Cess.
Yeah,
I told it won't be a hot take after you listen to it. Trust me.
I told Mark first listen. I felt like it was almost like a Cess album. That's just my opinion. My second or third listen, then I started to see Mos shine more, which was interesting. First listen, it was Cess, and then when I listened to it again, just lyrically, it was still Mos, and rightfully so, because we ultimately see what he becomes. But like, I just listened to it back closer, like more closer. Like, I don't know if you've seen that movie, the one about the Nike story about them signing Michael Jordan. It was Matt Damon.
Yeah, the one with Damon and Affleck.
There's a scene in there with Matt Damon. He's looking at tape, or like he's playing this guy. He's looking at tape of Michael Jordan in college. And it's just a regular play, right? That's to the untrained eye. And then he like takes a closer look. This guy was supposed to be really gifted at scouting.
Yeah.
He took a closer look and just real slow, he just saw a play that you would think James Worthy was going to get the ball. But he goes, no, the whole time it was designed for Jordan. The whole time. From the timeout, it was already designed for Jordan. He already knew he was getting it. So he saw these little details. And that's what I mean by the second listen, you could hear the details of why Mos Def becomes ultimately the shining, forgive the pun, star that he becomes to be.
The shining black star.
Forgive the no pun intended, but that's ultimately what he becomes. And I think that says a lot. You know, I don't know what ultimately, like we said, what happened with Cess, but I do like the fact that it is a mystery.
Yeah.
Like, same with Benefit. You know, I like the fact that it is just this one-off mystery that we have, because it's like, it's dope because it's still part of the hip hop story.
Yeah.
You know, even that was still a part of it. Just
I can't wait for the concrete. Oh, this is what happened. Like the definitive, definitive comments that are going to come.
She became an accountant. I don't even want to know.
I heard that.
Well, let's talk about his brother, DCQ. Now, DCQ, you know what's funny?
He's wild, man.
Yeah.
He's wild.
He is. What's funny is, like, I heard this album, and then next I listened just to get a comparison or just to see the transition. I started listening to Black Star. And what I thought was funny is that I can actually hear similarities between DCQ and Talib Kweli. Like, I could hear the similarities in their voice because it just contrasts Mos Def in the most complimentive way.
And him, DCQ and Mos Def, they speak from like right here.
Yeah.
Because Mos Def has always talked with from his, I don't know if
it's not nasally, but
it's like from the top of his, like if you were to speak, you were to know when someone's speaking from down here, here, and here.
Right. It's a thing. Yeah.
And it's definitely, and I'm always listening to it. I'm like, what accent is that?
We should bring like a specialist voice, like coach or something.
Yeah. We got to bring someone to like talk about that, because we're just two dudes who do podcast, but
break down the science of all that.
Yeah. But you could tell that DCQ and Mos Def both speak from around here, like around like the top of the mouth, if you will.
Right.
And, even off the jump, DCQ, Cess, Mos Def, when you hear him on the track like that, it's like, oh, he sounds like, kind of sounds like Mos.
Yeah. I also do hear a little bit of like Far Side, Souls of Mischief from DCQ. Yeah. I hear a little bit of that tone in there. What else? I want to say also too, I mean, you could tell that they're brothers.
The style's so much fun. His style's fun.
But the skill's there. The skill's definitely there. I just love the fact that he was the one that really kind of pushed Mos Def to, like, you know, to do this.
He can hang his head on that proudly.
That's dope. I think the way they said how it began was Yasin said that him and his brother were listening to, I think it's The Box, and then they heard Common. I forgot which track. They heard a Common track, and his brother was like, "Hey, you know what? We could do this." And then Yasin Bey was just like, "What? Do what? Like order another music video? What are you talking about?" And then he was like, "No, we could really do this, man." Like, I guess he saw the talent in Mos Def like early on, and he was a very sociable guy, so he like made it happen. Got him studio time, made connections with the right producer that was producing for Busta Rhymes at the time, which is dope for a 19-year-old, 18-year-old, whatever. Like that's crazy. And Mos Def said, he was like, "I'm introverted. Like I would have never made those connections at all." So like, my brother, like he's the opposite. He made all these connections happen and made it kind of happen. So
how you managed to just be chilling? Like, I was just chilling. Didn't really want to do anything. I became famous. That's the power of networking, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it is the power of networking. So that's dope. Like, that's why I think this is important for hip hop, because I mean, ultimately it was the beginning of the alternative rap. Like, you know what I mean?
This branches into too many timelines. So Manifest Destiny doesn't take off, but Mos Def on the solo tip does.
His destiny manifested.
Yeah.
Talib, Talib makes some jokes about that too. And Mos Def is just like, all right.
Yeah. You met, it's Talib Kweli's podcast and Mos Def was on it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. That's going to be funny. I got to watch that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So let's go into the album cover. We have two album covers. One was supposed to be the official release.
Yeah, the bottom one Isaiah picked.
It's supposed to be the official release.
Just kidding.
And then the second one was the re-release. So we'll talk a little bit about the first one. Let me just kind of describe it. The first album cover, it has UTD in the top center, Urban Thermo Dynamics. And then underneath that, there's three vertical images, a profile image of each member. So you have QC, DCQ, keep getting it all backwards. DCQ on the left side, middle Cess, and then you have Mos on the right. And it's the same image, but it's split up into three, it looks like. DCQ is just kind of chilling, looking to his left side. Cess is sitting on, looks like a newspaper stand or some sort, and she has her foot up, kind of swagging out. And then Mos is on the right with the Kangol on, and he has like a slacks, it looks like.
Yeah.
With his hands behind his back.
Yeah, and then Cess is actually standing on the thing on the she's actually in Mos Def's frame.
She is. Yeah.
At the top left.
Yeah.
Actually propped up on whatever thing
so
she's like chilling on.
Yeah, to me it looks like they're just cold chilling. They're young at the time, so they're just posing. It looks like to me. Do you see anything that catches your eye or anything that you want to bring out of it?
I do. Now I know exactly where this photo's from. This is actually taken. This is the portrait shot. This is that same album photos. Excuse me.
But somebody put like
cropped to frame
together, yeah.
Cropped to frame, brought up and brought together into the Manifest Destiny album at the very top.
Yeah. So the re-release album is basically the first album, but cropped into one image. It's all black and white, and it's filtered to like almost a cartoonish type filter.
Yeah.
And it's just their like headshots basically of the first album cover. And then you at the top left, UTD, Manifest Destiny, Urban Thermo Dynamics, and you have their names on the top, DCQ, Cess, and Mos Def. Does this album, the second re-release cover is the one that's more like iconic for you think? Or that's
it's the one I remember. It's the one I was able to get via the CD that I purchased. And this is the one at the top the one at the top is going to be the most common one. I haven't seen until I started seeing doing the research for this album is when I actually saw that.
Yeah,
saw the.
You're right though. It looks like Mos Def doesn't like want to be there. Like,
bro, that's the craziest thing. Like,
his brother looks like
his
the
brother
hustler
was
making
pushing.
It looks like he's the hustler of the group because he's like it looks like he would be a networker making it happen. Maybe even I think Yasin said that he was like gang affiliated at the time with United Kings.
Oh wow!
You know how you always roll with the crew or something in the high school days or whatever.
Yeah.
Cess definitely does look cool. Like it looks like she would have a lot of things going for her.
Yeah.
At that point, and he said she was a lifeguard at the time. And so she was doing that. And
how do you end up finding out all these people just spit? Like, damn, that's crazy. Like,
it is pretty crazy.
You had to pry it out of Mos. DCQ's probably the one that did spit the most, and then they found Cess that she can actually spit too. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Like in the 2000s, you had to let people know that you rapped.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah,
you kind of did, and then like these guys just start finding out the most whimsical way, dude. Like if we got to have a counter of like the oddest pairings of like, it's so like how we mentioned on the previous episode where we reviewed Blackout, where it's like, dude, like it's just the power of just like networking and this and that.
There was a description like I wanted to say on that episode, and I totally forgot. So I wanted to call them the Sean and Marlon Wayans of hip hop. Like that's totally
that would have been dope.
And Method Man right there.
Just do it in post. Just edit it again.
I don't think I can.
You have to wear the exact same thing.
Yeah, try to crop it in. But yeah, ultimately this is a dope album cover. I like it. It's simple.
How do you think this would stack up against the score by the Fugees?
So yeah, that's pretty interesting. It's not gonna. It's the Fugees got it.
Yeah, production value, experience.
Yeah, and then I think Lauryn Hill just got that super unique voice.
Plus the fact she can't spit. I'll give her that. I'll always give her that.
Spit.
Yeah, I'll always give her that.
And
I just don't like that she don't show up for her shows.
No, no. But there's that thing though. There's these groups that have the one female MC and two male MC trios. Like there's a couple of groups like that. We cover Diggable Planets.
Yep.
That's also sort of like that. Great group. That's an awesome group.
Yeah.
Ladybug Mecca really shines out of that group too. I really like her style. Well, then you have the Fugees, like you were mentioning, the Fugees. Lauryn Hill shines out of that group.
Yeah.
Any other groups that are like a trio combo between like two male MCs and one female MC like that?
Not to my knowledge, but I'm sure we're going to get corrected in the comments.
I'm trying to think of some, but
I don't know. Yeah, because that's what I'm thinking. My thinking is that had this group actually fully developed, with Mos knowing what he was inevitably going to become, it would have been talent by osmosis, and Cess actually taking just rhyme style to a 9 versus like Lauren's like at the 8, but his singing's a 10.
Yeah,
as long as she pushes that to the forefront, that'd be cool to think.
There isn't a trio like this, that combination, female MC, two male MCs, that have lasted the test of time, that have like continually put out albums on.
Yeah. Well, I think the main common thread is the romantic interest thing, because remember,
that's always happens some sort of way, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because even with Wyclef, I heard that he kind of liked Lauryn Hill or something like that. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So dope play though. I think that was an inspiration. Yasin Bey did mention the Fugees as well. Yeah. So part of the podcast, guys, we don't actually play the music. We are not like some of those reaction type, videos you see on YouTube. This is different. This is a podcast where we talk about the lyrics, the style, the impact, what the stats, whatever. And we go into some tracks and we just read the lyrics and we just kind of go through it and see what they're actually saying. So we do it a little differently. I hope you guys can rock with that. So we've chosen 3 tracks on this episode. We're choosing Worldwide. Oh, actually, Worldwide.
Manifest Destiny.
Yeah, Worldwide doesn't have the lyrics on Genius, so we're choosing Manifest Destiny in its place. My Kung Fu.
Yep.
Moon and Cancer.
Yeah.
Honorable mention to Hardcore. I really like that track a lot. That was DCQ. You ripping it.
Yeah.
And I believe Cess also has a verse on there, and then Mos at the end. Dope trap though. I like the little horn that's like I like that. It's pretty sick. So we're gonna go into the first track, which is going to be Manifest Destiny. I want to mention really quick that track was produced by Diamond D. Big ups to the producers. I didn't really get to mention that, but there was a handful of different producers on this.
Diamond D produced produced a track on A Tribe Called Quest's Low in Theory.
So already the notoriety is there. And then Jay Prinz is another producer that's listed on here. Showbiz, YZ.
Showbiz shows up.
Jay Swift, Salam Remy, The Vibe Chemist Backspin. That's
a hell of a name. The Vibe Chemist.
Yeah, Backspin was on this. So, there was some collaboration between producers here. Diamond D on the beat for Manifest Destiny. This was also coupled with a music video as well. So you can check out the music video that Mark and I were talking about.
Yeah. Not the best quality, but they got it. That's the craziest part. It's like, dude, I didn't even think they came out the music video.
Yeah, exactly. I know. That's
crazy how time just ended up. You end up finding out 2 things. You end up finding out that they have an album, a different album cover, and then you end up finding out that there's a music video. I know that.
Yeah, hidden gems. So you start off with the intro. Cess, you are about to enter the manifestation of a family cipher. I thought she says a family affair, but it could be wrong. The Urban Thermo Dynamics is about to hit you right now. Yeah, that's right. She does drag it right to the point when the lyrics come in. Cess comes out so strong, too. The vibrato's there. Like, the way she's popping off from the get. Like, if anything, I would give this credit to her, like, for it being the debut. She knocked it out of the park for a debut.
Yeah.
I'm just here to let y'all know I got the flow and the locks that grow. I love the nappy heads and the braids and afros. Kick Adidas, jeans, gear bod. What is that? Gearbod.
It's either
Jeans gearbod. So it has to relate it with jeans, right?
Yeah, they have to. It's capitalized, so it has to be a brand of something.
This is how we go, and this is how we do. This is how we be. We are the big you. You don't know me, and I don't know you. But if you want to set it, do what you gotta do. I keep my flow in the 1 and 2. That equals 3. First letter C. Dang, that equals 3. So A, B, C.
Yeah.
C for Cess. Okay. Got some bars here. Second letter E. Last joints S. Styles manifest from Key West to Budapest.
Budapest. Yeah.
Oof. Wow. Okay. So yeah, going off about her style, her flow, just, that's the classic,
Introducing yourself is always going to be
the intro, Nevertheless, don't need no S on my chest. Like a Superman.
Yeah.
Yo, why Cess? Cause I'm super blessed. Save all the stress before I clean up the mess. And if it ain't no, then it must be yes. And if it's the bomb, then it must be Cess. And if it's the bomb, then it must be Cess. I got the exposure to keep my composure. I'm meeting quotas from Minnesota to Dakota. I thought that line was dope. I was telling Mark, if I had heard that line while I was in sales, man, that would have been the nod.
That would have been funny, man. Like, man, I'm making quotas from Minnesota to Dakota, baby.
I'm hitting quotas from Minnesota to Dakota. Talking no shit from the rap promoter. Taking no shit from the rap promoter. Because if they ever try to, their shit is over. Murky mixture, what's going on? I leave the party bumping to the break of dawn. Break of dawn, break you down. I like that. A little of dawn, break you down. I like that.
Little Easter egg to De La Soul's Break of Dawn, Break of Dawn.
Yeah. I like that. Yo, mister, I like the sound. Put on the weight because it's more than a pound. So if you want some of what I have, meet me on the DeKalb and Fullerton Ave. Meet me exactly on the street.
Yep.
or I'll be square, a hop from the D, manifest destiny. It must be what? Manifest destiny. It must be what? So check it out.
So next verse, you have early Mos Def really getting into what he does, because he's going to give you multis in the beginning and the end of the so probably like the middle part of the bar to the end too. This is where he's actually going with opposites within his bar. He's doing an opposite play rhyme scheme.
Yeah, that scheme is dope.
And you could, again, when you hear this, you'll understand what I say when he talks from the top of his mouth. Well, if it ain't red, then it must be blue. And if it ain't false, then it must be true. If it ain't day, then it must be night. And if it ain't left, then it must be right. And if it ain't width, then it must be height. So he's still going with like just opposites of everything. Even things in comparison, like with width and height.
Yeah.
And if it ain't loose, then it must be tight. And if it ain't off, then it must be on. And if I ain't here, then it must be gone. Oh, no. If it ain't here, then it must be gone. If the shit ain't proper, then it must be wrong. Whatever don't fit does not belong. So playing into it must be wrong. So whatever doesn't fit does not belong. Sunrise to sunset, that's dusk to dawn. Dog. So he explains it within just all of it within the bar. That's a wordsmith for sure, because it's tough to have it rhyme, make it fun.
Yeah, Wordsworth could probably speak on this part right here. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're right. It's one thing to get the concept of the opposites, but it's another to now you have to make that and confined to it rhyming.
Yeah, and explaining it too, just being like on the educational tip with your bars, that's like next level. Yeah. Sunrise to sunset, that's dawn to dusk. The big U, a name that you could trust. The big U. A name that you could trust. And then you'll hear it in the background echo. A name.
And U short for UTD.
Yes.
Urban Thermo
Dynamics. The big
Dynamics.
U you're going to hear a lot. It's explained as UTD. Lay around on the middle ground, kid. You could die. It's game time, son. You better choose your side. Half measure will not abide. So they're not going to take you right on the middle ground. You better choose a side. Half measure will not abide.
I like that.
If you ain't all the way live, then step aside. The deep Medina Green is where I reside, and it's about time. So you kind of figure out where they end up going. Like, hey, where are we going to call ourselves? Medina Green. It's kind of like a little trip, kind of maybe an Easter egg to it, because we don't know if this is definitively what they ended up going with because of.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And it's about time that this Brooklynite took the mic and made the world get hype. You want to be hardcore? Try living right. Man, be putting up a hell of a fight. Many times I stumble off the righteous path, but it's literally unintelligible. But on my ass, but I promise on the high plains, I take the rocks. And I got the will of an ox. I will not be stopped. So the will of an ox, either the physical beast itself, the ox, or you always talk about the ox being the knife. I will not be stopped. I got to manifest death. What act you think? What ock you think not? So ock, talking about the ockies at the corner stores, at the bodegas. So I got the manifest death. What ock you think not? So he's talking like he's literally talking to somebody at the bodega, like, what ock you think not? The verbal funny. Juggernauts make a party lick shot. I treat a road more narrow than a fold out cot. Coming from the bottom, so I'm rising to the top. What? And you don't stop.
That's the thing I like about Moses. He's able to see things in just a vain lens sometimes that allows you to capture so much.
He illustrates
without having to lose you. And I don't know how better else to say that than like. I think he was in an interview where he was talking about, they asked him a political question, like, where are you at in politics? And this is like probably 9 years ago, this interview. So like early 2010s somewhere.
Probably on Bill Maher somewhere, right?
So he answers it and says, well, when I saw Obama before he was president, he looked like a president. I mean, he goes, I'm just going to be honest with you. This is just me. Yeah. Presentation is like everything. Like, he looked like a president before he was a president. The way he carried himself, the charisma, like this is just how people operate, whether they like to admit it or not. So he's very honest with that. And he, and I think that goes into now his like rapping, like he can properly digest something and then spit it out where it's for like the common man to understand. He makes the complicated plain for everybody to like understand. And it's so interesting because he's an introvert, really. But
like, all this stuff is stored within.
But yes, crazy. that's a weird thing about him.
His bar, I'm only gonna do one. This is just the one of the last few bars in his verse, but it goes to show and play into your example of how you just explained it, where it's almost like a brief education.
Yeah.
I tread a road more narrow than a fold out cot. So. It's literally that that thing hanging on the wall where people could sleep.
Yeah.
I tread a road more narrow than a fold out cot. So it's still folded in, and how narrow that thing is. Right. And that his narrow path is smaller than that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just his own unique way. So it's cool to play into that, man.
That is dope. And then you got Cess and DQ on the hook.
Oh yeah.
Self-actualize
and realize. Do what you got to do. If you can see it, you can be it. Manifest. It's up to you. So this is literally going on to the definition of manifesting.
Yeah.
Manifesting. Everybody self-actualize and realize. Do what you got to do. If you can see it, you can be it. If your mind can go there, then why can't you? If your mind can go there, then why can't you? Where are these guys at now with this song, man? This would have been the perfect song, man. People are always trying to visualize things.
Yeah.
Doing vision boards now, and man.
Yeah, that reminds me of there was a particular president. I want to say it was it Theodore Roosevelt? I don't remember. I'm sorry, guys. I think it's Theodore Roosevelt. I'm not sure. But there was a president who, not only was he a president, but he liked to go out into the wilderness and do all this.
Teddy for sure.
Do all this stuff. And it's like, dude, it's like there was nothing that he physically can't do that his mind, thinks or imagines, like creates, and that's not the same for everybody, unfortunately. There are some people that, what was it? there's some people who can imagine things and create things, but they just can't physically get there. Like I'm thinking of Stephen Hawkins. I'm thinking of Stephen Hawkins. You know, he's such a brilliant guy thinking about black holes and everything, but you know, physically he can't really do much because he's in a wheelchair and everything. You know, but I'm saying like when you have the combination of the two, man, you know, it's just like
you become
whatever your mind believes you can do. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And there are a few people like that. And I think of Kobe, you know, the mind was there, but physically he was there too.
Yep.
Like that is a beautiful combination. I do believe that a lot of people can get there, you know, if they put the right work ethic to it, they can get there. But it's not always the case. But what they're saying there, that those two things, man, hand in hand.
If your mind can go there, why can't you?
Strive for that. So DCQ rips it on the third verse. Nowadays, heads be making me mad. Talking good game, but their legs is bad. Yapping at the mouth and with the wish I had. Hops, do yourself a favor and get off your ass. You in between, running around town selling dreams and beans. Screaming word is bond, but what's your word worth? Ooh. Before you indict yourself, fool, think first. That's tight.
No self-snitching.
Spitting wisdom already. And if it's my word, then it must be bond. And if it's my word, then it must be bond. And if it's my word, then it must be bond. And if it's the word is the big U, and it's going on.
So establishing the rule about the word is bond, but what's your word worth? He's like, but you know, when I say it, my word is bond.
Word is bond. Because in the kind of makes it ineligible again. We taking down vultures. Peace to all those that represent the culture. To the kings and queens of the universe. Hey, yo, we gotta shine the light. All right. We gotta shine the light. All right. Hey, yo, we gotta shine the light. All right. I just like the message here behind this track. You know, from all three of them.
And a hell of a hook too, just to self-actualize and realize, do what you got to do. If you can see it, you can be it. Manifest. It's up to you. If your mind, and it just plays into, if your mind can go there, then why can't you? I like that.
Yeah. That's a really good message. I mean, all throughout this album, there's some really dope messages in here. I like the fact that Yasin Bey said, like, you know, we can take from the Fugees, but you know, what we have is something different where we're, you know, from Brooklyn and everything, like we have more of that. We could bring the street to it, Bed-Stuy to it, you know, which is something that the Fugees don't, you know, just don't have. So I like the fact that, you know, there's something different here. They bring more of this raw grittiness to it, but also socially conscious.
With an album that almost didn't get released.
That is, that's nuts. Next track we're moving on to is going to be
Kung Fu.
Oh, Moon and Cancer. Let's do Moon and Cancer. That one came before it.
You got it.
Moon and Cancer.
This goes out to the entire critical mass. Tashawn, Jawbone, Big Two. This is how we do it.
Peace to, I want to also mention Peace to Victory. I think that's another dope track. That one kind of goes more into Mos Def's intros, how he was more of an introvert. You know, it goes into that. That's kind of dope to hear the stories, because he put some of the stories in that. That was pretty sick. Okay, so yeah, Moon and Cancer.
Yeah. So he started. It's man, dude. This beat takes a.
This one's Showbiz here, produced by Showbiz.
Oh my god, this is a really dope beat, man. Because it makes an impact, but again, it's always about the beats that take a back seat and leave the vocal presence on the forefront.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what it was, but it's in rare form because it's the beat that, like, it's a great beat, and then you hear it, but you also hear like you have that the lyrics take the front seat.
Yeah, and Mos Def goes poetic here on this one. I mean, describing the sundown like in such a unique, poetic Shakespearean fashion in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Like
he does it. Watch it. Daylight disappears from sight. Sun bleeds on the bricks and bring forth the night. So he's talking about the concrete jungle, when the sun sets, bring forth the night. The red serenade gives shades to back streets. So he's just talking about the adjustment of when dawn hits.
Who's rapping like that? That's
the red serenade gives shade the back streets. Heads adjust to the EQ for the bass in they Jeeps. Sounds like the drums of a neighboring tribe. From the bass of the Jeeps, he gets the
takes you reference back into like history.
Gives you the example of sounds like the drums of a neighboring tribe. Absorbs the vibe, feel good, close my eyes.
And I just want to say this, like he connects the two eras from a tribe back then to like the modern day,
Yeah, what does bass sound like to you? The modern day it sounds like the drums of a neighboring tribe.
Bows, basically.
Yeah. And step out by he's absorb the vibe, feels good, close my eyes, and step out by the crisp night air. I gotta stay aware, God, there's demons out here.
Yo, peace to this verse right now.
Big time.
Big respect to this verse.
This is young Mos Def.
Young Mos Def.
I gotta stay aware, God, there's demons out here. So he's a self-aware man. Calling another fellow person God.
Yeah.
Adjust the headset before I begin this trek. Insert the cassette plus play on the deck.
Look at that. I like that little scheme right there.
The horns echo and I slip back in the zone. It's time for the high plains man to roam. I'll be dealing with magic. Some say melodramatic. Lingually acrobatic. Stay fluent and static. So he's rapping so well, he stays fluent even when there's static around him.
Lingually acrobatic. I like that. Just the phrase of that.
Staying fluent and static. So he's chilling, even when there's like people giving him static. I work my way to your town as the day goes down. I got observatory view of the sight and sound.
Observatory views.
Top of the game. He's on top of the game. I feel completely out of place in this whack rat race. I'm the type of black man that needs color and space. But heads be dealing with waste. They be moving at haste. Herb's got something to prove. Want to stare in your face. Brothers want to compete when they ain't shit to win. They be playing high post now. I'm prepared for the end. So playing high post, from what I heard, is like if you like stand on yours, even when it's kind of like it's literally standing on business, whether you got to at this point and there's no budging. They playing high post now. I'm prepared for the end. They want to profile the style. They got it so sweet. It ain't about what you earn. It's about what you keep. Man passes by in an aimless stroll, barefoot in the street as the night grows cold. In reply to his sorrow, he begins to dance. He claps his hands. We share an awkward glance.
Yeah, this verse is special, man. This reminds me of Kanye West's tribute to Homecoming for Chicago a little bit. This is obviously most loves his home. Yeah. And if you're describing your home poetically like this, that tells me that you love your home.
He had to have seen what he was writing, bro.
Right,
exactly. He had to have seen it at least one time.
And peace to him for this is another level here, because there's just, I guess, more plainer ways you can say this that doesn't sound so poetic, but you can tell he's trying to elevate the way he's seeing things. He's trying to see it from a different lens, a more like godlike beauty lens.
This is the early seedling stuff that you're talking about, Zay.
Reminds me of Master Ace when on that track Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Where he sees the beauty and everything. This is kind of what Mos is doing here.
Sun is falling, moon is rising. And then, yes, y'all. Oh, freak, y'all. Freak, y'all. And you don't stop. I keep mainly to myself. I ain't got too many friends. While they be looking for rocks, I be searching for gems.
Stop.
His power level's enormous, bro.
Stop. Oh, wow. That's a bar.
Check this out too, because he takes this example of a bad situation and makes it just something else. I ain't got nothing to lose. I might as well be a winner. So he doesn't have nothing to lose. So it's like in the form of nothing. In the form of losing, he has nothing.
Right.
It's nothing of that loss. so it might as well be a winner. That's
crazy.
good shit.
That's a glass half full right there.
Try to radiate the night as the world gets dimmer. Papa, haven't you heard? There's power in words, dog. You've been giving us the example most for show.
Yeah,
I contemplate to elevate the average man on the curb who be slinging his rock, catching hell from the cops, got the world on his back, being male, being black. And it's crazy mad stress. The city don't rest. Can't maintain your poise for the goddamn noise. So I'm watching my clock because the day drifts off. At night, I reason with myself and how I can get shit off. Might be reading a book or might be drinking a stout. Might be thinking it over. I might just need to be out. And so like going back and forth of what you want to do. Right. Could be reading, could be drinking something. I might be trying to get money. Might be dealing with honeys. Might be geeking off these devils because they're so fucking funny. Smoking a stove on the D train chilling. So this is a second mention of the D train. It's going to be the one that's going to take you. It's probably going to take you to Brooklyn.
Yeah. Man, I just love the way he's capturing everything. It's like when I think of it as in like one of these days we're going to be so far beyond these years, like hundreds and hundreds of years, things are going to be like artifacts, and these lyrics are going to be like fossil bones, man. When people find these, it's like, it's going to be like, oh, so that's where it was like.
This is how they were rapping before AI took over.
Before AI
before AI took over and started rapping.
Before the Matrix took over.
Yeah. Smoking a stove on the D train chilling, checking the skyline of the watchtower building. Images of blacks in the hills and images of black in the hills and the valleys, from the type businessmen from the gods from the rallies. So from even the businessman in Wall Street to the gods in the rallies. So
it's so hard to do this. It's so hard to paint this picture, man, that he's painting.
A bass head with the Mo D shades. So the big shades from Kumo D with the Mo D shades. A little girl with pretty eyes in her hair in braids. A mother rests on her seat, rubs her feet, falls back into sleep. 1,000 fathoms deep.
1,000 fathoms deep?
So measuring distance with fathoms, you have to be well educated, and you have to be well versed.
That's a crazy way to say
stuff.
Like deep sleep, like falls back into sleep 1,000 fathoms deep. That's a way to say a deep sleep. That's crazy.
Yes, sir.
Cess comes onto the track. I kind of wish this was all like a Mos Def solo track here, but Cess does come on the track. As the nighttime falls, I creep through the dark. I check out the scenes in Fort Greene Park. Lost souls as empty memory lanes. No life to live, no goals to gain. This negatory provision is all around us. It's systematic and frantic. The devil hounds us. Set to prevail, I take back the night. Wake up my soul and take back my life.
Yeah.
I sit back and wait for the right time, but I'm already here. It's in the nighttime.
A little short and sweet.
Yeah.
Not as poetic, but impactful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Descriptive.
Still wish this was all solo, Mos Def.
Because
nicer.
You get him kind of like almost in an open mic kind of setting.
Yeah.
And to have Cess come in like this with her delivery.
It kind of interrupts the flow a little bit for me, but
absolutely.
She's all throughout this album. She's woven throughout this album. So
yeah.
And then at the end we have Mos Def. Moonlight stars fade away. Sun creeps up the bricks and brings forth the day. Sun is high and it's AM again. It's time for the killers to slay men again. Business day. I want the shit to be over. Got no time to play. So if you want to help, then do me this favor. Cut the nonsense and let me handle this paper. Time is money and money is time. Ain't a damn thing free, so I must get mine. It's 10 to closing. Yo, son got to jetting. Headed back home to the brack to watch the sunset.
And the time the sun is rising.
That's a beautiful track.
Sun is falling. Moon is rising. Yes, y'all. Freak, y'all. And you don't stop.
I want to say piece to another honorable mention, Frontline. That was like the more like military, social conscious type track.
Yeah. One with the message.
Yeah, the one with the message. That one was produced by YZ. But that was, Frontlines, just talking about like the oppression, both mentally and physically, like just the welfare status, even as Black people, you kind of like just the struggles and stuff like that. So I thought that was a dope track. My Kung Fu, though, that one's the one that really does stand out, starting with Mos Def, kicking it off. This one I feel like is the more closer to the Black Star Mos Def that we hear coming.
Yeah, because
like inches a little bit closer.
Yeah, because him singing a lot. His gift is the fact that he's multifaceted and his lyricism, where he can, as Isaiah did an example, he can do that, but he can also sing. Yeah. And then his rap style is top tier. Mm-hmm. So all that just like gets carried. All that,
it's a perfect storm.
All that I mentioned before his rap style is all an added bonus.
Yeah, yeah. And the dude's just captivating alone, just even on interviews, dude. Like he's interesting because he's not. He keeps a lot to himself. He
rarely goes out.
So that's why, like, when you hear him speak, he recently spoke on Drake, and he said, Drake's not hip hop and stuff. After we had him on That's Hip Hop, but he said, Drake's not really hip hop. It's more like mall music with an edge.
Yeah.
I was just like, dang, dude.
That was nuts, man. Like, for Mos Def being on the quiet tip the whole time, for him to just bust out, Drake's not hip hop.
Dude, it's so funny because we had just covered Drake on That's Hip Hop, and then all of a sudden that video comes out later.
So now we have to, like, delete that episode.
Yeah, so number, what episode?
I know. Welcome to That's Not Hip Hop. We edited not.
We just add a big not in front of that episode.
That's not hip hop. Per Mos Def.
Yeah, per Mos Def.
Yeah, so in this beginning of My Kung Fu, you get Mos Def, again, like I mentioned, he's going to be singing. He's ba 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 ba. You've been so good to me. When I was a little boy, you were the only one I wanted to be like Padu and Madu. How much I love both of you. Oh, how much I love the both of you. I know all the strain we.
What's the track he did now on Black on Both Sides with for his moms? What's that one called?
Umi Says,
right? He sings on that one. Shine your light. It's more of a singing song.
Yeah.
He has that. Yeah. He said something about his mom. His mom loved that song and everything, but when he did the sex song he did, the party sex song, she was like, somebody was like, oh yeah, she let me have it about that song.
Oh, Sex, Love, and Money?
Yeah, she goes, she let me. There was the only one song that she didn't like. She vocally made me aware of, and it was that
Sex,
song.
Sex, Love, and Money.
He goes, but man, I had fun.
Yeah. Did he explain anything about the new danger? Just real quick, but I'll get to it.
I didn't go that far.
Okay, cool. All right. So now we get Mos Def styles. Check it. I first studied my Kung Fu in the Brackalack in the center of the shop inside the old street hack. This had to be about 10 years back before I even heard of a 24 track. Talking about you as an MC was not the move because if you said you had skill, then you had to show and prove. So maybe that's why people like
say that back in the day. Yeah, you couldn't, because nowadays everybody would be like, oh yeah, rap.
But I can't freestyle.
Now they're calling it pay style. You seen that?
What?
Yeah, they call it pay style now, like where they won't do it unless they get paid. I don't know.
We do it for free.
I think that's why.
Do it for free every 5 episodes.
I get it though. I get it because like when they go on all these shows, all the radio shows want them to do a free. I get it, but at the same time, it's kind of whack for us. So I'm just saying.
Well, some people just do it for the love of music.
I know, but imagine you're the artist though, and you're getting like kind of like hustled out of.
What if I'm already a dope freestyler and like I'm just showing off?
Okay, but you're talking about off the top. Okay, this is a whole sidebar argument debate here now.
I know.
We're in a hot debate about it. All right,
we got to do a That's Debate series.
That's hip hop debates.
Because if you had skill, then you had to show and prove. And if there ever was a party, son, I would set it and tell the DJ run the beat from Ultra Magnetic. So Ultra Magnetic MC, peace to Cool Keith. I grab the mic and tell him I lead the party buzzing, telling all the honeys I was Slick Rick's cousin when they knew I wasn't, but I had no shame. Pa, you know the name. Most always had game. Back in the day of the rap attack, when brothers knew how to act before Glocks and crack.
So the thing is, I believe him on these bars too. That there's an honesty to most. I don't believe that he spits anything that he hasn't done or said, or So it's kind of
when he's telling
funny.
stories like this, bro. It's like, it's honest. This reminds me of the song, the Brooklyn song that he did. On the Black on Both Sides.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the same way he tells authentic stories. And Van DC was doing radio shows, and crossover meant you wore your mom's clothes. And when Sweet G was talking about games people play, I would sit back and say, yeah, indeed, someday.
Just piece that line. And crossover meant that you wore your mom's clothes. Because now crossover is like, where a rapper or MC becomes like more pop. They crossed over, so that's pretty dope.
I used to sit back and say, yeah, indeed, someday. And as I grew older, my kung fu grew better. Instead of shooting the humbles, I was shooting all nets.
Now, peace to him again for just even referring to MCing as kung fu.
Yeah.
That I think there's MCing is an art. It's an art form. And I see the ties between kung fu similar to how RZA saw them.
Yeah.
Like there's a heavy tie connection there, which is dope, and I love that. So peace to Mos for like also like recognizing that and like giving that its credit too. That's sick.
And so instead of shooting the humbles, I was shooting all nets. And now my time has come. And now hip hop's an industry polluted by bums. Posing with guns, they posing with guns, they puffing mad blunts.
Again, man, peace. Like these bars are just dope. So
Presentation of bombs.
Yeah, shooting humbles.
Yeah.
But then he got to the point where he was shooting all nets. Now you're a basketball player. I mean, the feeling of it being all net is wet. That's what they call wet.
Yeah.
It's a difference. It's a difference in your shot when it's all net. That's a description right there. Yeah. That's a bar.
Now hip hop's an industry polluted by bums, and you'll hear his presentation on that. Posing with guns, they puffin' mad blunts. Say, yo, brothers just started rhyming last month. They're getting fat deals on any major label when we only seen the other people hold the mic cable. 5 years ago when we was dancing house, when the DJ played hip hop, then you walked out. But now you're hard. Talking about you paid mad dues. Dude, this is beautiful because it's rhyming, but it's telling a story, and it's like, whoa, this is real time. This is not just rhyming for the sake of rhyming.
No, it's going back to the sucker MC kind of again.
Yes, bro.
That's like the infamous enemy of the MC, the sucker MC.
But now you're hard talking about you paid mad dues. I used to see your ass abused wearing platform shoes. I ain't confused. What do you think you're fooling with that getup? You ain't genuine, so don't waste your time riffing over here because there ain't no chance that you could break the sound, son. You ain't that advanced. Times are getting critical across the land. Don't provide the B-boy. Introduce the B-man. Understand? The MOSD is who I am. Now check it out, y'all. My kung fu is the style you haven't mastered. That's the chorus. My kung fu is the style you haven't mastered.
I thought it said it's a style learned from masters, but this even hits harder now.
Yeah.
That it's a style you haven't mastered.
This particular kung fu.
Yeah. And the thing is, I always feel this in anything I do. Like, there's a level of mastery that you want to get to in that craft, especially if it's a craft that you're kind of more focused on or have a passion for. Like, just like anything, you want to be the
really
best
good
at it. Yeah. You want to be the best that you can be at it, at least. Don't half-ass it. Like, that's what who is it that made that track, Half Stepping?
Ain't no half stepping. Big Daddy Kane,
That's
baby.
Big Daddy Kane, right? Oh. Yeah.
It's 88. It's time to set it straight.
Were we on a verse, the hook, and then verse 2, DCQ?
Yeah.
At the age of 18, made a little money, and I needed some advice on how to live my life. Was going through strife. People couldn't understand that I was coming into my own, becoming a man. I had to have a plan because I know what I'm here for. So I can't waste time. Y'all gotta be on the ball and represent for my peeps.
Where?
In the streets. I make beats and kick facts over fat tracks. It's all of that from the Brackalack. Going through problems as a adolescent. A lot of troubles and turmoils through the persistence. And and I know that I stutter. I'm like literally stuttering over a stutter, but it don't matter because I'm a bad mother. You know, I flip a verse either backwards, sideways. I rocks my from here Mondays, Fridays, Saturdays, and I get a weekend off. I love that line right there, by the way, with the way he delivers that. Yeah. Is dope. The way he plays it. My ain't soft.
Oh, well, excuse me, baby.
You paid your dues because I'm the boss. So mother Bruce Springsteen and Diana Ross.
Dang, straight dissing the boss Bruce Springsteen because I'm the boss.
Because they know what time it is. I rock. For fly kids, B-men, bouncing. I like how you played off of that B-men.
Oh, yeah.
Bouncing bass, bombastics. Kick it drastic. You get tossed like an ass kid.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
My kung fu is a style you haven't mastered. Well, and then Cess pops off at the end, man, and it's like she brings another challenge of like, are you going to have a verse better than Cess on this song? We'll see. Well, I'm sleek, and I freak a beat for you and your peeps to bump inside your Jeeps, your Acura, Honda, or whatever. Bump it in the Benzie and get your head together. Strolling down the FDR, playing the microphone star. Deep in your car with the thump diddy thump, the thump thump. Pop in the trunk and let the bass bump. If you ain't got a ride, well, that's all right. Let you keep company on your hike. Trekking down the Ave with your headphones on. Take them off for a second. You still feel gone. You press and rewind many, many times. You must rock a mic because I must rock a mic because it's only right. Coming right off the eastern ground. This is how you get down. I hope you like the sound. Thermo offering number 1. There's more in store. There's more to come. We far from done. No, the show ain't over. So when we coming through, don't say I never told you that. My kung fu is a style you haven't mastered.
Peace to Cess. Peace to DCQ. Peace to the mighty Mos in his early teens. Man, this crew it's really cool to see like just how far they were at a teenager level. I mean, that they throughout the whole album, there wasn't a part where I was just like, oh, I don't know, that was kind of off.
Right.
They were pretty consistent throughout the album.
Yeah, if anything, the production level, imagine if that was actually increased a little more.
Yeah,
you know?
Like if they did a second album, I feel like all of them would have been elevated.
And we're talking about like from the audio being remastered.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Like that's the only thing I have for this album. It's like, yeah, it's raw. You're going to get, these are young kids rapping. What do you expect?
Yeah, exactly. What were you doing at 19 years old? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Drop an Illmatic? No. So it's cool seeing these, and the analogy goes, it's a small puppy with big paws. This whole group as a whole, one of the what ifs that we have in, hip hop, underground hip hop in particular, and for it to actually get its release is something that I think it's a great answer to one of the what ifs, because we could have had the what if this album never got released, and we're still like wondering where's the actual live copy at? Where's the one master copy?
Yeah.
That'd be crazy, man. Like imagine living in a reality where you didn't hear My Kung Fu, Moon and Cancer.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I just love the fact that this is just part of Mos Def's development. Like you see, the early foundations of what he ultimately starts to be right here. Like you're getting a glimpse of it, like in real time, of how he was developing his style and his delivery. And it wasn't fully Mos yet, but you can see the early seeding buds of it at that point in time. And if it wasn't for that, I'm sure that was very instrumental in him getting there ultimately, because what he ends up partnering with Talib Kweli and doing Black Star changed the trajectory of hip hop. And I feel like it really helped sustain hip hop in a crucial period of time where, after the death of Biggie and Tupac and Eazy-E and everybody, like it was kind of an uncertain time for hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, as far as where it was at, or
who
where
was taking the throne.
Right. Where was it going?
Yada.
So it was very important for music that Talib ends up hooking up with Mos, and they end up doing what they do.
Yes.
Because that album was very important. And I think it's cool that we get to look back and we get to see this, like we get to hear it. You know, especially knowing what Mos Def is, because Mos Def is one of those guys. I equate him to like a Nas and a Busta Rhymes, and somebody that just, because they're like 50 years old now.
Yeah.
Somebody who, when he speaks about these things, such as we were talking about with Drake, it carries weight just because his voice, you know, there's only one of those. That's Mos saying this, or that's Nas saying this. If Biggie was around, I'm sure we would have been like, that's big. Like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like the buck stops there. So
right.
I think this is a hidden gem for all those who like are into this kind of thing, like the early works of a Mos Def. Like, this is it right here. This is the holy grail, if you could find it. Like, if you could find a cassette of this when it came out,
yeah,
you'd be, how much were they selling for?
What,
the cassette tapes?
Oh, now they're selling for like $50 on eBay right now.
Interesting. What do you think about this this group? What's your takeaways?
We have this project that may have not have been released. I worry that there's instances where, damn, like what if we didn't? You know, that's what I meant. What I mentioned earlier. I'm glad we had. I'm glad we ended up getting this album released, because all it was up to that point in 2004 is like, it was like, oh yeah, they released it, but it hasn't been, you know, no one's got a copy of it, and they actually did it. That was crazy. It was something to celebrate over. Yeah, you know, because you get the work that predates his solo. You get the work that predates Mos Def's solo effort. So that's something to take pride in as a fan, to like, oh yeah, like, we get to listen to that. Yeah. And that, you know, it was his brother. Yeah. That was also, we get to see the whole effort of like just three individuals that met during this certain time, and they all rapped and they all had skill. Yeah. It was interesting. Like, cause the story was, you know, at first, like they're all family. Like that was a sister and brother. Yeah. That made it a little bit even more interesting. Right. But it still doesn't change the intrigue, because it still is his brother. Right. And Cess was a close high school friend of his. So it's still interesting. But even despite whether they achieved widespread commercial success or not, it still resonates, the impact of this album. Yeah. Because of Mos Def's career, right? Like that. And it was like, this album was like an essential footnote still in hip hop history. Like still, so it still made that much of an impact. Regardless. Yeah, and it answers the question of like, oh man, would we ever get the release of Manifest Destiny? Right. So that's great. That's great in its own self too. But damn, it's just the raw effort, and it's a fun album to listen to. This album doesn't have skips on it at all. Nah. It like plays straight through. Yep. And you get the early verses from Mos Def, and then you get Cess stealing the show with DCQ right there with him, and you could tell where Mos and DCQ, like brothers hanging out, you could tell that both of them share one and the same style to a certain extent. Both have their unique traits, but you'll see common ground in their style. Yeah. So check out the album. If you guys haven't checked it out, we recommend it. Yes. You know, let us know if you have a copy of it. You know, yeah, absolutely. That'd be dope. Or what was your favorite tracks? Yeah. Maybe if you have some stories about Cess, and you know where Cess is at now, and you know where DCQ whatever is story you want to make up. Let us know in the comments. We do appreciate that. A couple of things before we let you go. One is that we're on the road to 500 subscribers. We're almost there. We're so close. I could just feel it.
You know, hopefully we will be able to hit that pretty soon. Of course, we have much bigger plans and dreams for the podcast and for the community. So we appreciate those who have commented, those who have followed us and subscribed to us. It means a lot. Please remember to, whenever you can, if you could share this, if you could like it, all those kind of things matter to us. It helps us. And we no doubt appreciate that and respect that. So thank you guys for that. Mark also does a pin business. He's currently dropping new stuff and has all sorts of different pins, from sports things to pop culture references to nostalgia things. And if you have, you know, you're lacking some swag and you need some swagger in your life, like the pins is the best way to do it. You can, you know, hook up your backpack. You can hook up the caps you got, whatever it is, you can hook it up. So Mark has been doing that for quite some time now. So let him know a little bit about that, Mark.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure if you get a chance, head on to thenotoriouspin.com. I make a variety of special pins that like capitalize on like, actually I put emphasis on like 90s pop culture. So like video game related stuff. I even got I even made the MTV VMA, you know, just different things, like whatever you guys like. You know, I even made a Dreamcast controller. So it's all just good stuff that you guys get to check out on the notoriouspin.com or on Instagram at lnotoriouspin. There's going to be a link that'll take you to purchase there. We'll keep you posted on what shows we're doing next too as well. But yeah, the notoriouspin.com. Feel free to check it out.
All right, man. Let them have it.
To the MCs, drop a mic, drop a like.
Drop a like.
Otherwise, you're going to see my kung fu.
Take us home. We got to go to bed.
Style you got to master. Oh, yeah, we do got to go to bed.
We got work tomorrow. Have a great week, everybody.
Peace. My kung fu.